Hello, everybody. Welcome to a absolutely stunner of a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
The Cologne podcast.
The Cologne podcast.
We're just two idiotic fools from Texas that are giving our opinions about the world of fragrance.
And we're also best friends. I'm Myke.
And I'm Ryan. And today...
Well, I'm his best friend. I don't know that he's my best friend.
Oh, no. We're both friendsies.
Okay, today we're looking at SoCal by Hollister.
Yes.
If you ever remember walking through the mall and suddenly being choked out by a cloud of testosterone and teen angst.
I do remember that was basically their calling card, though, right? They put this scent out there in kind of the atmosphere outside of the store, right?
Well, in the store, too.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I don't think I've ever owned one article of Hollister clothing.
I haven't.
I have owned quite a few bottles of this. This used to be the hit maker back in the day.
Dang. Okay. Well.
Speaking of hit makers, let me tell you what KTT The One has to say about SoCal by Hollister.
Spill it.
Trendy, sexy, woody, aromatic, sweet, sensual, lasts forever, and projects very well. For the price, it is incredible. I understand the Hollister Association kills it a little bit, but if it was by a niche house, it would be considered a masterpiece of perfumery.
Okay.
And rightly so. KTT The One, 4/12/2021.
Okay, let's see if this stacks up with Clive Christensen over here.
Let's just see if this stacks up next to Aspen first, okay?
All right. With that being said, let's get into our one-night stand review of Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce.
Yeah. One night stand review.
After spending the night in a luxurious bedroom with Abercrombie and Fitch's Fierce, Myke, what did you think?
I don't really get why it's still getting the hype. And I also don't get why people are still willing to spend $80 to $90 for a bottle of this on discounters.
It was okay. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, but it smelled cheap.
I agree.
I know there's going to be some naysayers out there. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let them write us. thecolonepodcast@gmail.com. Write in. Tell us how stupid we are. It wouldn't be the first time. For me sniffing it, I'm like, man, I'd probably drop $35-$40 on it.
Yeah.
Today, Hollister, you can get this for $30.
Okay.
So, I mean, I get it.
This is a direct competitor then, technically.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know why A&F has such diehard fans, and Hollister, they were like, yeah, you're right. Let's just drop this
Do
price.
either one of these stores still exist in a mall? I'm being for real. I haven't really visited them all.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, I remember when these two brands were the shit.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm kind of like, anytime I see somebody wearing one, I'm like,
What was that other one? The Buckle. God.
Yeah, but the Buckle was more of a boutique, so they sold...
Really?
They sold multiple brands, yeah.
Huh. That's wild. I had a girlfriend at the time who always loved to give me pants from the Buckle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and if you know, I mean, you know me. Can you imagine me sporting anything from the Buckle?
Yeah.
Really?
I could.
Hell no.
When we were younger.
Oh, God. I can't. I cringe at thinking I wore stuff from there.
I probably would have if somebody would have bought it for me. I probably would have. Back then, I was just craving to fit in. And now I'm like, I want to stand out. I'm just kidding.
He's not.
Okay, well, that's how I kind of feel about it.
That sums it up for me, too.
Yeah, it's just kind of meh.
Yeah.
You know, if you're at TJ Maxx or Ross and you run into it and it's hella discounted, go for it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't even imagine why I would ever buy it.
I think, you know, somebody that just wants to waste the money on it, more power to them. They can. It's nostalgic for them. But if it's just something you're trying to find a fragrance for yourself to stand out, it's probably a no.
Man, there's a lot better purchases you can make for $80.
Less than $80.
Okay, let's get into our scent of the day, Ryan.
Hollister's SoCal. You want me to do it? Or
Spray it up, y'all. It just pulls. Hey, this is Mancera. You just pull it off. He's trying to unscrew it over there.
All right.
I'm going to say it's got some force on the atomizer.
It definitely does. Cap is cheap, black plastic. It's all right. Bottle, though, the design of the bottle is actually pretty nice, though.
Yeah.
Dang.
So this is a 50 mil. I want to say I got it for like 20 something bucks. I immediately like it way better than Abercrombie and Fitch.
I do too. And I was thinking it was going to be just some other cheapy kind of vibe, but it's definitely pretty decent.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's still kind of fresh though. It has a summer vibe.
Yeah. This is what it smelled like, though. When you would walk by it in the mall, you'd walk by the actual storefront of it.
Yeah.
Like, this smell was like just exploding out and into the walking area outside.
It has a smell to it, and I don't know if you're going to pick it up, but I'm immediately picking it up right now.
Okay.
It has like a rubber inner tube sort of a smell in there as well.
That is so random, but you're right.
So, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing because it kind of reminds me of like tubing in the summer, you know what I mean? But it also kind of makes it smell cheap at the same time.
Yeah, it does. God, that you just nailed that. That is a weird little scent, but it's there.
I don't remember it being that way whenever I wore it many ages ago.
To me, more than a fragrance, and we've said this about a couple of different things now. Maybe it's because I associate with smelling it as I walk by, but it smells more like a room scent, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. A long time ago, Ryan, I worked at Best Buy.
Okay.
While working at Best Buy, before Jamie, bleep out the last name, introduced me to Pour Homme by Dolce & Gabbana, I was wearing this.
Ooh.
And let me just say, as a young man with a nice hairline and a decent body, this aided me.
And abetted.
This aided me in the pursuit of many a beautiful women.
It's not a bad smell. It's unique. I'm not going to hate on it. And that's a pretty fair price, I would say.
Yeah. This is more along the lines of what I would expect for these guys. Mm-hmm. And for Abercrombie and Fitch, honestly. Yeah. We're going to be comparing these the whole episode. Sorry. It's just what it was. They were mortal enemies back in the day.
People lost their lives fighting over this.
Yeah. It may be like Sirius and XM. Yeah. They may have partnered by now because they're like, we need the help.
Do those really two come together?
Sirius and XM?
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. That's wild. Man, I stay so unconnected, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing. It makes sense. Why not?
Huh. Yeah, that does. Okay. So, what young man hops out of his shower, jumps into his 1998 Toyota Celica, drives up to his highly respected job at Best Buy, hops in the booth at the Geek Squad, and he's wearing this?
Well, first of all, I was driving a Pontiac Sunfire that didn't have AC. So I wore fragrances quite heavily back then. Imagine that. Summers in Texas. And I lived about 55 minutes away from work. Yeah.
No AC? Hell no.
Oh, dude, it was brutal. I've always been poor, Ryan. But yeah, it was me wearing it. It was fine. It worked. Will it work today? I don't know that it will work as good as it did back then.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned this in the past few episodes, but things have changed so much since we were younger. Like, I don't think any young person's like throwing this on and pulling anything.
I think this is more for nostalgic purposes.
Yeah.
Honestly, the best buy for this would be somebody like us.
Yeah.
That wants to throw back those fond memories of young love. Kind of like we said with Curve.
Yeah.
I could see this kind of playing the same role.
I'm going to say something wild. I think between Curve, the Abercrombie and Fitch, and Hollister here.
Yeah.
I feel like this one is the better one to me because Curve gets a little too over the top for me personally.
Sure.
But this is very tolerable. It's a pleasant smell. And honestly, if there was like a diffuser of this to have in a house, this would be a badass scent in your house. Seriously.
You would smell like Hollister.
Yeah.
Walking in. Here's what I would say. If you're going to wear this, spray it only on your clothes because on the tester, I don't get that inner tube sort of a smell.
Agreed.
And it smells pretty badass on the tester.
It really does.
And I used to put on that blue and yellow polo and spray that puppy hard. I mean, this is a lower concentration. It makes sense. But I'd spray the fuck out of that thing. And I would walk in there, fumes just flying everywhere, like pheromones, trying to attract any woman near me.
Did it work?
I'm going to assume it worked more than I did. I mean, I had some game back in the day, but it wasn't that strong.
Oh, my God. What did you work in that section there at Best Buy?
Well, I started off as what they called a CA or a customer assistant, but they got rid of that position pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was kind of dying out. And normally what you would do with that position is you would either sit by the phones and you would answer phone calls and you'd walk through little old ladies on how to restart their computer and, I can't find the mouse, that sort of a thing. You'd either do that or you would wait close to the front door, and as a guest would come in, you'd greet them, figure out what they needed, and then you would know just enough about each department to kind of get them going.
Yeah.
And lead them to then, one of the blue shirts that was hanging out in that
liaison, if you will.
That's right.
To some people's wallets.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, it's so funny that our lives have crossed paths many different ways because we both actually worked at the same Best Buy.
That's right.
Area, just at different times. But, I worked in the computer section of it, not a Geek Squad member, but selling them. And I do not miss those days. Do you remember the training videos where they were like talking about different tiers of customers? Do you remember that?
No.
Dude, I think about it now, it's kind of shady, but they'd be like, this is your typical whatever, this kind of budget, and here's Moneybags McGee coming in.
Yeah.
And I was like, good Lord, they were like vultures, man.
Dude, they knew. They were like, hey, this person right here, you better sell them with that black tie protection or whatever. You better sell them with that $300 TV calibration. The funny thing that I remember most about that was actually the job interview. Mm-hmm. And the person giving me the interview said, what's the biggest mistake you've ever made in your life?
And you're like, applying here.
I was like, it was gambling all my savings away, and now I've got to get a job here. Now, I mean, I was, to date it, basically what happened, I got out of high school, went to college for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Then came back and slept on my sister's couch for a little bit and then finally got a job. Started to put my shit together. But I started working there. I was pretty young still. I was young for my grade too. They let me in a little early. Yeah. Into school. So I
graduated. A genius.
No. I think my parents were just like, for the love of God, take this kid. We don't want to pay for daycare. We're trying to get public school going. So I got to start at 4. So I think I ended up, I forget how old I was, 16 or 17 when I graduated. Yeah. So by the time I was probably about 19 whenever I started working at Best Buy. Yeah. For me, I'm a very introspective person and I'm a very, like we try to be on the podcast, we try to be pretty transparent. Yeah. So I straight up told the guy, I'd been living with my grandparents. Yeah. And my grandmother, who was the sweetest person on earth. Yeah. I just remembered for the longest time, when you're a kid, you don't want to do chores or anything like that. And they were from the old school. Yeah. It was just expected. And we had a big ass garden and like we were all the time picking those fucking vegetables and you're like getting bit by ants. And I hated that. And then like once a year, I'd have to paint the house. We had this old ass wood house. I'd have to paint the entire fucking house with a hand brush. The entire house. And also mow the lawn and all that stuff. No allowance given. This is just expected. And I begrudgingly did that for so long. And I sat there. Honestly, I was crying in the interview going, I can't believe for so long I got so upset about having to do things for my grandmother who is now, I wish she was around. Hell, I'd paint the house again just to, be next to her, like in that moment, I kind of broke down and I was like really upset that I, for so long, had such a terrible attitude about helping her out. And he was like, okay, well, you got the job. And I'm like, well, does it include psychiatrist visits and stuff like that? Because dude broke me down over here.
That's hilarious.
Dude, it was brutal. Because they were actually only hiring for part-time and they wanted a few CAs, but then they were looking for one full-time CA. Yeah. So like I finished that question and I'm legit wiping tears away. And the guy who was a manager at the time calls somebody else in and he goes, I think we found our full-time CA. I'm like, whew, man.
He's in
He's an emotional wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect for this job.
He'll be great.
Oh, Lord. Well, back to Hollister's SoCal.
Well,
we both got a little off there.
That's fine.
But
we're going back to the year.
Yes.
Same time.
Well, now let's fast forward to the present. Skip it.
Sample it.
Buy it.
What are you going to do, Ryan?
I'd skip it, me personally, just because, it does smell good.
It does.
I do mean it when I say, like, if there was like and there may be, hell, I may be saying this and somebody's going, you idiot, they do sell it there. But if there was like a wall plug of this or a diffuser or something, I'm serious. I would like the smell in my house. It's very clean and it's a very sweet, pretty smell.
I would be absolutely shocked if they didn't sell this as a room spray.
You know what? Let's find out.
While you're looking, let me explain to why I bought this. And I bought this actually before we thought we were going to do this podcast.
Really?
Yeah, because we had sat down and we were just kind of getting back into fragrances again.
Yeah.
I went kind of a long time not even buying colognes and stuff, mainly just because, I'm not going to lie, the past few years have been tight as hell financially.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I just hope my deodorant's doing double work. So when we first started really kind of getting back into fragrances, I was looking for cheap options.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those ones I could pull back from my memory and go, I do remember liking this fragrance and wearing it a lot and getting compliments on it. So I was like, let me see if I can find it on the cheap.
And then you found it.
On the cheap.
Well, I'm sad to report my findings so far have showed that they do not have this as a home scent.
Big missed opportunity there, Hollister and Co.
It smells so good. It's funny. I'm saying it smells so good, but you know what else it kind of smells like? And we haven't done an episode on it yet. It's just now hitting me. We may have to do that episode ASAP and compare these two because that may change something.
Tommy Hilfiger.
No. You wish. No. It's either the EDP or the parfum of that YSL you just got.
Oh.
There's something similar there. Oh, he's just said, screw it, I'm busting out now. Which one is it?
I'm guessing the EDP.
I think it is too.
Yeah, smell that though. It is worlds apart.
They're similar, but yeah, this one's way better.
Way better.
I'm talking about the YSL one.
Yeah.
But that is kind of crazy. Those are kind of similar.
Yeah, I can get it.
So we may be comparing this again in the future to that and being like, well, here's your options. If you don't have dealer money or whatever you want to call it, you can get this one.
I mean, you can get some decants, especially if it's a designer fragrance.
Yeah.
You can get a decant of that pretty damn cheap.
Damn.
Of really any designer pretty cheap.
Yeah. Okay. So like I said, I would personally skip it, but I'm going to say something to everybody. It's only $20-something. Definitely, if you're walking by Hollister, smell it, see if you like it.
Don't buy it in store though.
Way cheaper outside the store?
Yes.
Okay.
There are people that are still holding on to the nostalgia of this and are trying to sell it for a lot more. They probably bought it from the store back in the day and now they're like,
yeah,
man, I hate to let this go for anything less than
$100.
That's right.
What's your pick?
Well, I mean, I already bought it, but I wouldn't buy it again.
Okay.
If you spend $30 or $40 on a fragrance, there's a lot of great ones out there that are hovering around that price. It's hard to spend that on a throwaway. And I'm not saying this is a throwaway. If you already have it, I think you should wear it. It's not bad, but I wouldn't buy it again personally. There are other things I could buy for $30, $40 that I'd wear more often, I'd say.
Yeah, I think one of them would be Luna Rosa Carbon.
Sure. Man, this is one that's going to end up hitting every one of the episodes that we do from now on because value proposition of Luna Rosa Carbon, I feel like I need to buy 2 or 3 bottles before they catch on. You know what I mean? That's how good it feels.
It is a good one. And for me, I know you like it kind of open to close on it. For me, I'm the closing of Luna Rosa Carbon is phenomenal to me. And for like pretty much $50, it's like ridiculous.
It is a no-brainer blind buy for me, personally, which we've already done an episode on that. Let's get off of this.
Sorry.
If you love listening to episodes where we ramble on about the other fragrances than the one we're actually supposed to be talking about, let us know by sending us an email at thecolognepodcast@gmail.com.
And if you think we don't check those, you'd be dead wrong. We check them religiously throughout the day, and we respond to messages as quickly as possible.
Yep.
We enjoy feedback, and we enjoy the conversations we're having with people.
We do. Part of this, we want it to be a community. We want to know about you. We want to know about your favorite fragrances. We want to know what you have and what you're aspiring to get. Yeah. So email us. We want to be friends.
There's other ways you can show support for the podcast. You can obviously visit buymeacoffee.com/Cologne Podcast. Anything that gets donated there goes directly right back into the show, either through hosting or also through getting new samples, little decants for us to try out for the show.
That's right. Yeah. And we've said it, and I'll continue to say it. None of the money that you donate goes to any one of our personal fragrance collections.
No.
Which I would be scared to even call it a fragrance collection at this point. Yeah. But anything that you donate, we are going to be very precise in how that is budgeted out because we're shoestringing this thing together right now.
Yeah. And then the last way you can show support, which we're encouraging a lot, is share it on your favorite platform, whatever you want. We don't care. Share it. And also make sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening.
Right. Yeah. Follow us on your streaming platforms, and we love you.
Also, make sure to check out our next episode, because our next episode, we're going to be one of our favorites, Raja Dove. We're going to be smelling what I would consider his summer fragrance, Oceania.
Oh, yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Until then,
Oceania.
Sorry. Sure it's not Oceania or Oceania?
Who knows? Let's call it both, and then that way one of us is right and we
probably
win either way.
That's wrong.
I doubt it, Ryan.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. We love y'all, and make sure to
spray it up, y'all.